Dear aspirants, as you all know that the date for the CLAT is out and is 1st December. So technically you just have 6 months in hand. But the good part is that you do not worry, because today we will discuss the different kinds of strategies for the different subjects with which it will become easy for you to crack CLAT in just 6 months. So whether you have started preparation or not, this video is for you. Right? So let's get started and see till the end. So we will start with the English language. We have discussed about the basic details of all the subjects and the exam pattern. You can check out the video here. So now we will see that what is the strategy which you need to adopt for all these 5 subjects. So in the English language section, one of the important element is the active reading. In this video, we have talked about the exam pattern, in which we have clearly told that English section will have passages of almost 450 words each. So because of it, you must have the active reading. And trust me, in all these 4 subjects except quants, other 4 subjects will have the passages of 450 words. In this video, I have talked about the details of the exam pattern, what type of question comes, right? So please check out this video. Link will be there in the description. Now, when we are talking about active reading, it is very important that you should read the passage very carefully, and you should have a habit, or you should make a practice of deducing important elements out of the passage. With which our next point is come is annotation. So whenever you are reading, you must annotate the important details given in the passage. Maybe it could be important word, or it could be important understanding of the passage. You should highlight it, or you should mark it, so it will become your habit to annotate. And with this, you can retain important informations as well. And the last benefit of annotation is you can directly jump into the question and see whether something is matching with the passage or not, and you can solve the question directly even without completing the passage in certain cases. But otherwise, you should complete the reading of the passage. Now, vocabulary building is really important. Vocabulary building, you have 6 months sufficient time to build the vocabulary. There are numerous ways how you can build the vocabulary. Even if you are watching some English web series, you can take out certain words from there. So in fact, you can utilize your entertainment time to improvise your vocabulary. Otherwise, there are certain applications in both App Store and Play Store, for which we will add few of the recommendation in the description box. And along with it, different book is there, like Norman Lewis, Word Power Made Easy. So they have 3 sections. You can go through all of these 3 books, and it will definitely help to build your English. Then you will also have to understand certain important maxims, phrases, terms. All of this will come under your vocabulary. Since if your vocabulary is strong, it will help you to solve critical reasoning also, and help in the legal reasoning also. So vocabulary will work for all these 3 sections. You also have to understand the passage structure. So these are the practices which we have to do in the upcoming 6 months. So whatever study modules you have, study materials you have, utilize that. Start giving mock tests very seriously. So first of all, it is very important that you shall make a structured time plan, right? A structured study plan is required. So of which I discussed in the last, that what are the SWOT analysis you have to do. So prior to it, you also have to work on the foundation. So if you are the one who are starting preparation right now from this video, so then you have to work upon your foundation. So I will suggest that take at least 40 days to work on your foundation. For all the 5 subjects, work on the foundation, take at least 20 days each, right? So 20, you can take up to 100 days for foundation. And along with the foundation building, you should also start solving some of the mock tests, which is really important. We are also coming with the CLAT Challenger series. You can register for the same. I will also attach the details of it in the description box. This CLAT Challenger series of the IMS GetSet Law will definitely help you to, understand your preparation. It's all free, and you will also receive the All India ranking along with cash prizes. So that is really helpful. Along with it, you should definitely read certain newspaper which will help you to read the passage faster way. So passage structure understanding is very important. You should know what the main body is, what is introduction, what is conclusion, with which you can always understand the mood of the author, what are the intentions of the author. So this habit will help you in the English and the critical reasoning section as well. So you should always set a timer while you're reading the passage. While you're reading any content, you should set the timer. You should see how many words you're reading in a minute, because we have seen in the video where we have discussed the exam pattern, there are 450 words in the passage. So there is a very big time constraint that you have to read 450 words at least within a minute. So that should be your reading speed, and this speed will come with the practice, and you have sufficient time for that. So as I mentioned that you have to take, let's say, 20 days for one subject, you should critically analyze that how much time you're taking or whether you're progressing in your time or not. Let's say if you're starting say 250 words you're reading, and if you're taking 5 minutes, you should make a target that after 15 days for the same 250 words you will take 10 minutes. So this is the progression which you have to set for yourself in the coming months. There are again figure of speech questions in which you will have to familiarize yourself with the common figures of speech such as similes, metaphors, and personification. So this will also help you to solve the question in a better way. And then there you have to look for the language, and that is coming from the literal meaning, right? Root words, derivatives, all of this you will have to study, which will help you to solve the questions. Along with this, the general suggestion is to solve previous year question paper. So CLAT has changed its pattern from the 2020 and thereafter 2020, 21, 22, 23 and 24. You have papers of 5 years, and I will suggest that every month along with your regular mock test series, you shall solve 1 year paper of CLAT previous year. So let's say if you have 6 months, you have 5 year papers, solve each paper in single month, which will help you to analyze your preparation along with your regular mock test. Current affair, again very important. You have to go to the regular updates, whatever is coming in the newspaper. You can also subscribe to multiple channels in the YouTube of this leading newspapers like The Hindu. For legal, you can take Live Law, Bar and Bench. Along with it, there is the Print, The Wire, the Times of India, Economic Time, Financial Time. Multiple news channels are there, but at least you should watch 2 to 3 channels, because you have to diversify your sources. If you'll not diversify, because it so happens that multiple news channels give specific type of content, so your knowledge will become limited to that specific source. So specifically in current affairs, it is really important that you are diversifying your content so that it will help you to broaden your knowledge base. And always take a note. So note taking is one of the very key factor. You will have, whenever you are consuming any news article or the YouTube videos, even if you are seeing it right now, if you think that certain points which I am speaking is relevant, you should note it down, even though it is present in the PPT, but you shall note it down. So this is a very important and significant practice, because whenever you note it down, you're noting it down with certain mental element which is coexisting in your mind, and that will help you to retain the things in a much better way. Along with it, focus study. As I mentioned, that it is very important that you have a timeline for your study plan, and as per the study plan you should go ahead, because although we have a 6-month time, it is a very competitive exam and you need a disciplined way to study, because we know that current affairs specifically is oftentimes overwhelming. Usually students ask me that from where to study, what to study, how much to study. So these questions will be solved if you are doing it daily. Consistency is the key. All of you must have heard. So you have to study it daily. You should go through the government policies, some important judgments, some important international news, or the mainstream sports like the FIFA, Olympics, and so on. Again, socio-political developments are also important. You should go through the key changes which are happening in the society. Let's say Manipur, multiple changes have taken place. Lok Sabha elections have going through in this 2024. So those are important. So you should see what are the things happening in the society, maybe impacting a particular cultural, religious or societal groups. So these are the news which will become important for you. Coming to legal reasoning in the past years have seen a progression with which they are including the miscellaneous laws. So I will talk about it later. First of all, I will recommend that you should go through the foundations. So the subjects like law of torts, consumer law, contract law, right, constitution, law of crime, all of these are the foundational subject area which you shall go through and have a basic understanding of all of it. Then if I talk about the previous pattern of the CLAT which has been changing year by year, so if I talk about a percentage, at least if we see the cumulative of this 4 years starting from 21 to 24, the 35% of the legal questions were being from the miscellaneous law. So law miscellaneous law matlab all those law which is present in the contemporary time, like coming in year or 2 year, or it is very recent. So let's say the surrogacy law, it is being talked about very recently. Electoral bonds are the very hot debatable topic. So topic like this, representative of people act, election laws, so like this there are different areas which needs to be learned. So these are the miscellaneous law which you shall definitely study, and it can be combined with the current affair. As I mentioned that if you're studying a newspaper daily or watching the YouTube channels, it will really help you to note all of this down. Then you have to practice in application is very important, because as we know that 450 word passage will be there. On the basis of passage there will be certain question, so you might have understanding of the subject but you may fail to apply that knowledge in the given scenario. So it is really important that you practice in the coming months of all the areas. Family law is there, environment law is there. So whenever you are studying the concept, you should also solve the All India mock test with which you can check or analyze whether you're able to apply those concepts aptly or not. Along with it, current legal affairs, as I mentioned, is really important. Like let's say I told about the different things happening like Lok Sabha elections, electoral bonds. So electoral bonds क्या होते हैं, कब start हुए हैं, laws क्या हैं. When we are talking about Lok Sabha election, there is anti-defection law which is in the 10th schedule of our Indian constitution. So ये सारी चीजें हमें पता होनी चाहिए जो बहुत basic हैं, बहुत न्यूज में चल रही है. जैसे कि अभी मैंने रिसेंटली एक वीडियो बनाया विच इज अपॉन द एवरेस्ट और MDH मसाला. कैसे ये दो मसाले हांगकांग और सिंगापुर में बैन हो गए बिकॉज इनके फूड क्वालिटी पुअर थे. अब फूड क्वालिटी इंडिया में फूड क्वालिटी एंड स्टैंडर्ड एक्ट 2006 के थ्रू गवर्न होता है. तो दिस आर द बेसिक थिंग्स जो न्यूज पे है, हमें लगता है इंपॉर्टेंट नहीं है, बट प्लीज रिमेंबर दैट ऑल ऑफ दिस things can come into the paper. So that is why regular reading which is involving the legal background is very important for you. So I've mentioned below the critical areas. So this miscellaneous laws will include everything. As I mentioned about Food Safety and Standard Act 2006. This will be called as a miscellaneous law. Representative of People Act. अगर कोई politician कोई गलत activity करता है या model code of conduct break करता है तो he can be debarred from fighting election. That will come under miscellaneous law. So miscellaneous law will include all the small minor laws. So ये आपको day to day basis पे पता चलेगा. बाकी फिक्स है, constitutional law, family law, environment, torts, criminal, contract, everything is fixed. So these are the critical areas. अभी हम इसे क्यों critical बोल रहे हैं, क्योंकि this is the analysis of the previous year paper. So ये areas तो आपको cover करना ही है क्योंकि अभी तक इन्हीं से ज़्यादा questions आए हैं. Now let's talk about critical reasoning. Critical reasoning में सबसे जो important है वो है paragraph analysis. Now every time you have to identify the main idea and the purpose of the each paragraph. And as I was mentioning in the English section that if you have a habit of active reading, you will be able to do it very meticulously. So when you have understood the main idea of the passage, it will be very easy for you to solve the questions which is involving the inferences in which you have to derive some conclusions, right? Strengthen or weakening. So questions like this will become very easy if you have understood the intent of the author which is given in the passage. So you have to understand the specific approach which is required for the different kinds of question. Maybe it is a main idea question, or maybe it is an inference, assumption, strengthen, weaken question. If you will understand the approach, it will become very easily. And how you will understand the approach? By solving and by understanding the very foundational area. Now, before solving the different answers, you should have a premeditated options as well. As soon as you read the passage, you should have certain calculations in the mind that what could be the answer, so that when you will read the option, you will have certain matchability. एलिमिनेशन मेथड इज वन ऑफ द बेस्ट मेथड. सो एलिमिनेशन मेथड हम यूज करेंगे हमेशा मॉक टेस्ट में. जब भी हम मॉक टेस्ट दे रहे हैं, वी शुड यूज दिस मेथड. इट विल आल्सो हेल्प यू टू अंडरस्टैंड वेदर व्हाट यू हैव थॉट इज करेक्ट और नॉट. ऑफ कोर्स जब आप इसकी एनालिसिस करेंगे तो आप हमेशा चेक कर सकते हैं कि क्या एलिमिनेशन मेथड आपके लिए काम कर रहा है कि नहीं. But it is one of the very key strategy to score good in the CR section, because CR needs a lot of critical ability, and critical ability will come when you are reading a lot and lot. So for example, I have mentioned one thing. So if you can see down, while a critic writes a movie review, right? While a critic writes a movie review, there are two things is existing in this. What is the primary purpose of writing the review? What does the critic think about the movie, or what is his opinion about the movie that he is writing the review about? See how critical it is. So there are multiple aspects involved. So that is why you should understand the main idea, right? क्या purpose है movie review लिखने का, right? उसका आइडिया क्या है, क्यों लिख रहा है, नरेटिव्स क्या है. तो ये सारी चीजें बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट होती हैं, which will come from the practice. That is why I mentioned in the active reading part, if you're reading the editorial sections of the newspaper, you will understand it. Because whenever the author is writing about the critical opinion of the policy, let's say कि आपने पॉलिसी बनाई कि हम हर महिला को 100 रुपए देंगे, जैसा कि हमारे कई पॉलिटिकल पार्टी के मैनिफेस्टो में लिखा था. अब इसका पर्पस क्या है? Why are they giving 100 rupees to every woman every month? So what is the purpose of this policy? I may write about my opinion, but is that opinion correct or wrong? Is the thought process of the reader to understand. So that is why when you read such things which are subjective in nature, your critical ability will multiply, right? So that is why it is very important. A specific strategy. So as I was mentioning about the eliminating options, you will have to see if something is contradicting the passage, or where something new idea has been introduced which is not supported by the passage in itself, right? So that case it will help you to eliminate the option. So these are the very specific strategy which you will have to adopt while solving the questions. Now why I'm talking about solving the question, because if you will have an idea that how you have to solve the question, you will have to prepare the background accordingly. So whenever you're studying, whenever you're doing the preparation task, you will have to prepare in the same manner, because your solving strategy shall be fixed, right? And whenever you're solving the strengthening and weakening question, so because this CR section is all about practice, here nothing to learn, or there's no rote learning out here. It's all about practice and understand the strategy as per the different questions. So you will have to consider the argument type, whether the opinion is there, whether the plan of action is mentioned, whether the cause and effect is given. So whatever is given, you will have to support logically whether this particular action or the particular statement is weakening or supporting the argument of the author. In all of this, consistency is really important. As I mentioned, that you will have to maintain consistency in applying strategy. So strategy application cannot be blindfolded. So as I've given different examples, you will have to apply all those while preparation. And assumption identification is also important. So you will also have to identify the whole segment of the passage. So as I was mentioning in the English section, that you will have to identify the main body, tone of the passage, narratives. So that will help you to improvise your assumption identification कि पैसेज का टोन क्या है, और ये आपको पैसेज पढ़ के समझ में आ जाना चाहिए. बिकॉज कुछ पैसेज थोड़े से टफ होते हैं, तो उसका आइडिया हमें नहीं लगता. तो इसलिए जितने वेराइटी के आप पैसेज पढ़ेंगे, कभी आप इंटरनेशनल पढ़िए, कभी आप इकोनॉमिक्स पढ़िए, कभी आप सोशियोलॉजी पढ़िए, कभी हिस्ट्री पढ़िए. तो व्हेन यू विल रीड डाइवर्सिफाइड एरियाज, देन योर assumption identification will become strong. क्योंकि कभी-कभी what we say a sarcastic, right? So there are sarcastic tone involved in the passage, right? So you should also include some religious news, some social news, so that will broaden your understanding about the different areas. Now finally, quants. So quants although have a meager part in the whole CLAT, but this will become the decisive factor to crack the top NLUs, because 10 marks is a way lot. So you will have to preserve this 10 to 12 marks, and for that the consortium says, which I have talked in this video when we are discussing the exam pattern, they say that the standard is up to 10th standard. So A, you need not worry, and B, the topics given are very simple. It is talking about the profit and loss, the average, the ratio proportion, time, speed, distance, basic data interpretation. All of this has been given. Now how you can start? First of all, you have to understand the basics. You have sufficient time in hand, and you shall keep, I will suggest, keep just 15 to 20 minutes to solve one question. Only one question daily. If you are able to consistently solve it, you will be able to do mastery in this basic mathematics. So you'll have to dedicate certain portion of your study time. Take out the subjects, like you can start with the percentage, you can start with the basic algebra, number system, you can start with all of this. You should do calculation practice, because CLAT do not allow calculators. So DI, data interpretation, will involve a lot of calculation. So calculation practice is really important, and you should perform the mental maths, right? How much if you'll perform the mental maths, it will help you to improvise your calculation, and it will help you to solve question very quickly and accurately, because you do not have to use even pen paper. That takes a lot of time. Then once you're done with the basic understanding or building foundation, you will have to work upon the refinement and the test readiness. So whenever you're giving test, you should check whether you're ready for the test or not to solve this question. Also, because it involves a negative marking of 0.25 marks, you cannot afford to even mark one answer wrong, because that will affect a lot of your mark if you are the one who are targeting for the top NLUs. So because there are many students who are lying between just 0.25 marks. So test readiness is a very important element, and it will come from the practice. So in this months, you will have to specifically solve these different areas. As I mentioned, just solve one question daily. It will help you a lot. So you can make a breakdown. Let's say 15 days के आप 5 breakdown बना लीजिए, और 15 days में like you can do ratio proportion, then next 15 average, then data, then speed, distance. So like this, you can make a set which will help you to do the things efficiently. And whenever you are writing mock test, you can always analyze whether it is working or not. Along with this, seeking help is very important. You can seek help, right? We also running a multiple programs. You can check out with us. You can check out with any of your friends who are doing good in the mathematics, and it will help you to improvise a lot. So this was all in this video. We have discussed sufficiently. Last, a very important thing, SWOT analysis: strength, weakness, opportunities, and threats. So these are the 4 factors which you should definitely analyze for this coming 6 months. So I mentioned certain strength. It could definitely be different for all of you, but this is just an example. You should devise your own elements for all of these 4 factors. If you will not analyze what is your strength, what is your weakness, so let's say like we have divided the time plan. So let's say I am weak in maths and I am good in English, legal, GK. So which means that I have to give more marks in the mathematics, more times in the mathematics. So likewise, I will make my plan. So but threats are common. I will say excessive use of the social media, doing lot of self-doubt, and excessive stress. These are the definite and general threats which all of you must face. So try to work upon your threat. Try to put the screen limit on your phones. Try to deactivate social media accounts for at least 6 months, which will help you to focus more, right? Figure out which subjects are weak, so you can improvise on it more. You can give it more time, and also you should try to identify your strength, because that will bring a lot of marks to you. Opportunities, you can always see. You should always grab, if there is any all India open mock test, you should give it. You should read more and more news articles and see a lot of YouTube videos which is related to your current affairs and GK. So this was all for today. Thank you for watching. If you have any doubts, please drop your comments in the comment section. Thank you for watching. See you in the next video.